You're listening to The Audacity Effect, where bold moves, real talk, and zero permission slips are just how we do things.
We're Jenna and Kelly, two corporate pros building bigger lives on our terms and helping you do the same.
Whether you're launching something new or burning down what no longer fits.
We've got stories, strategies, and sarcasm to match. Let's get audacious.
Gotta give them all. Nobody's gonna tell me what to do with this. There is no blueprint, just my audacity. Done with permission. My dreams might need a pivot, might need a new scheme. Call it Audacity Effect.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, hey.
We have a special friend with us today. I always say special friend, and it makes it sound like
That doesn't sound good. When you
like we pick somebody up out of a home because they're our special friend. I need to pick up a new name. We have a badass friend. We have a friend.
Yes. We have a badass friend with us today. That's it. That's what we'll go with. Today we have a badass friend. Love that. Yeah. Who is it?
And our badass friend is Lindsey Nichol, who has been our
Yeah.
what would you say, our patron podcast saint, because we would not be
Yes.
podcasting without her. So we finally all got to podcast together.
Hey, Lindsey.
And wow, it's so fun. This is so much fun.
It's gonna be fun. So today we wanted to talk to our badass friend, Lindsey, not our special friend, about a couple of different things. So Lindsey runs a eating disorder recovery. What would you call it?
It's like an online practice
Yes.
where I am meeting women where they're at in the safety of whether that's their home or a clinic or a treatment center and talking with them about their struggle and overcoming it.
I love
Coaching them
that.
through it.
And Lindsey, can you give us like a little bit, what is your practice called? And tell us a little bit about your podcast.
Yes. So my practice is Her Best Self Co. And my podcast is Her Best Self. Like, that's as simple as it gets because I feel like so many women, they come to me and they go, I've been struggling with whether it's an eating disorder like anorexia or it's restrictive behaviors their entire life or body image issues. And the first thing they say is like, I just want to become healthier or better. And when I think of it, I think of my best self. And so that was the brand. It kind of stuck. And we've been since 2022. So it's been kind of rising strong since then. And I started the show then. And really the podcast was created because I just wanted to be vulnerable. There weren't many podcasts out there for women supporting eating disorders. And I'm a podcast listener myself. And I'm not a big like social media guru. So I was like, how do I talk to people in a way that I just can get out my story in hopes that it can help one human? And so that's what started it. And I think we're on like episode 269 or something. And
Wow.
so like it just happened. It's been fun. It's been a journey, but yeah.
How did you even find podcasting? I mean, I understand how you sort of got there, but I think even like 4 years ago, now it feels like there's tons of podcasts out there, but you were probably more in the pioneer stage where there was plenty of podcasts, but I would say most of them felt more professionally produced and it did not seem as accessible as it is now. So I know this is maybe not directly on topic, but did we ever stay totally on topic? Like, how did you find that? And then what was it that made you kind of take the jump? Because Kelly and I have talked when we started this one, we were like, oh, I don't know if we're certainly unqualified. Who's going to want to listen to us? But you did this like on your own. You didn't even have a co-conspirator to share the risk of this is either going to work really well or actually I might end up failing at this. And that's scary. So again, maybe not totally on brand, but I want to hear more about that because I'm very impressed by how you've done that.
It is scary. It was a mess in the beginning. I mean, I was like trying to figure out what I was doing with my life with like an iPhone. But yeah, it was around COVID and I was asking some hard questions of myself, being in corporate for a majority of my life and going like, is this it for me? And am I using what my purpose is? Like I needed purpose. I don't know. We kind of got all thrown at home And then I was starting to search of what else could I get involved in? What have I overcome? And so the thought kind of came, okay, well, you can do a little side gig. Like maybe you can do a little side thing. And for a while, I was actually helping women lose weight. And then I felt like God, whatever you want to call it, the universe came down and was like, you have got this whole thing wrong. It's not what you're good at doing, it's what you've overcome. And so that prompted the podcast because I was a podcast listener. And I told you I don't really do a lot of social media. In fact, my business really isn't run on social media. I'm out there for business reasons. But I was like, how do I reach more women with this message, especially during this season where people are really confined? And so that kind of started the whole, well, I can do YouTube, I can do a blog, or I can do a podcast. And those were like the funnels and the channels that, again, I kind of educated myself in the business world. And I was like, well, we're just going to do a podcast and we're just going to share your story because if I'm struggling with this, there's got to be someone else that is. And then I don't know, it grew because then people would send me emails. And then, so it wasn't really a business when I started it. And it kind of became that over time just because I was trying to find purpose outside of being a mom and being a boy mom and a wife and all the things. I just wanted something that was mine. So the show became like my baby, my project. And it kind of went off from there. But it was really messy. If you go back to like the first couple episodes, you'll be like, oh, lady, you have grown. Like, sister. It was rough. Like the audio, everything was like thrown together. But honestly, it's been really empowering because I like to say I'm like a recovering perfectionist. And this is one of those things that I just had to like throw it together. And it was very liberating at the same time of that. Just going, okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be good enough. And people are still going to listen in. So,
because you're coming across truly genuine and authentic. And that's what resonates with people more than perfect audio. Yeah.
Yeah. But at first I was like, no one's going to listen to this. And then my goal was if one person listens to this and I change one life, then like, well done. So that's where it began.
I love that so much. So my mantra has always been like, if I can help one person, I've done my job. Like I get up every morning and it's like my goal every single day is to be able to help one person. And the fact that you are able to help so many with your podcast is pretty incredible. This thing you just started doing to help others. I think that's really amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it helps me too. I mean, my own accountability, right? We're always like telling other people what we want to hear. And it helps me too. So I feel like getting it out helps me as much as it helps, my clients or my listeners because we're in all of this together. I mean, nobody's ever going to have it all figured out, but it's definitely been a very fun, like not worky type purposeful thing in my life. So, but I appreciate that so much. I love y'all's show too. It's just like, even my husband listens to y'all and it's so funny. He's like, well, you're going to have to like step it up a notch because, they're really funny. They're like really funny and like your show. So I was like, I'm going to do my best.
Oh, that's funny. Well, it's more because Jenna's little ADD spin-offs come in. I'm like, oh, but you have to work with me every day, so you know how that is already. Okay, so and we'll see where this goes like we always do, but one of the angles that we thought would be cool to get into, and it was your idea, Lindsey, when you and I were brainstorming one day about what would be some good topics to co-share about. And I think that whether you struggle with an actual eating disorder or something, I'll call it eating disorder adjacent, there's a lot of parallels between, I'll say, the behavior patterns or cycles that we can get stuck in eating disorder brain, if you will, and when you're in a corporate structure, right, or in a professional or plug and play, whatever you want. But the particular tie when we were talking that seemed to make a lot of sense was eating disorder culture, corporate culture, how those two things can be complementary to the detriment of the individual, right? So like complementary, but not in a good way. And how, again, maybe you've had or currently struggle with disordered eating, or maybe you've gotten over it, but you substituted it for something else. Or maybe you just have some other adjacent behavior that you don't want. And it just, I guess, perpetuated, if you will, by whether you realize it or not, by some of the environments that you are in. So I guess along that lines, maybe we start, like, do you see, is there a particular, or are there any particular traits in like a lot of the clients that you're working with, or is it all across the board? And when you're working with your clients, but then you and I work in corporate together on a daily basis, what are some of the similarities maybe that you see that are, this sounds a bit dramatic, but holding people hostage sort of in places that maybe they don't want to be?
Yeah, this is a really good question. And so I think the stereotype is usually like this young woman. Normally, you think white women, which there's so many statistics that say otherwise, because I always say eating disorders do not discriminate. But maybe you think like a teenager or a ballerina or a model, right? We all are like scrolling Instagram and seeing the fit inspiration out there. And while eating disorders do show up there, I mean, I was a skater in my first life, I call it. It was kind of bred into me that in order to be the best, in order to be perfect, that meant you had to control your body. What I see every single day are lawyers, doctors, corporate, women, founders, people who are crushing it in their careers, leading teams, closing deals, running businesses with the whole family and all these responsibilities. And these are some of the most disciplined, driven, capable people that you've ever met. And that's actually what makes, I feel like, the high performer so vulnerable, because the same traits that make you super successful at a corporate job, like perfectionism, discipline, control, high standards, like all of these things that are bred into us, this ability to kind of push through being uncomfortable and standing out and standing in your truth. Those are the exact things that I feel like just create this behavior of disordered eating, because we're actually just trying to find a response to feeling somewhat like needing that control, needing it to be perfect. And so there's a lot of different coping mechanisms. Disordered eating is one of them. And literally 73%, I think, is what they're saying now. This was from the National Eating Disorder Association, of women in corporate environments engage in at least one disordered eating behavior. And that might mean they restrict their food. That may mean they're doing excessive exercise. They might have binge eating issues, like when they're coming home from the office at night. All of these things, I feel like if you compare it to other professionals, it's a perfect mixology, a perfect recipe because you're trying to be the best in every single, whether that's boardroom or situation, and there's no room for a slip. And that, just like an athlete, really breeds the controlling and obsessive behaviors that you see with eating disorders.
That is so interesting. I got to tell you, because when I think about it, I never even consider like excessive workout as, like an eating disorder. Like I never, and admittedly, I don't know very much about this topic, and I'm so happy to be learning about it right now. And I just think about some people that I know that are excessive exercisers and are very high performing and crushing it seemingly everywhere. And yeah, wow. Like that just kind of blew my mind, Lindsey. Like, I'm not kidding, because I have never considered that ever.
Yeah, it's kind of like this whole, what I say, like results over rest. Like
Yeah.
rest is bad. Rest is a con. You mean you need to rest? Like you actually need to rest. It's this productivity of like that equates your value or your worth. And so the same as literally with every client I have is the over exercise, because it's like, okay, rest is something I earn. It's not something I need. And so that comes from a place of, I feel like I have to show up. I have to be 5 a.m. I have to do the same thing. I'm on the Peloton. I'm on the treadmill. Like, it is one of those things where we are creating this performance, right, within ourselves of like, there's no room to slip. There's no room to have a rest day. Like, who rests? That is so how it is.
Losers rest. Loser. One of the other things to flip to is, at least I think reflectively, it shows up this way for me. Sometimes the fixation on eating or not eating or exercising or not exercising is because regardless of what it looks like externally to everyone else, you actually feel like you don't have enough control or there's things that are not in your control. And so rather than coping with that, you fixate on something that you can control in some kind of way, and then you overdo it. So I can't control if I'm getting a promotion at work, how my relationship is with my friends and family. I mean, I can control parts of it, right? I can't control whatever, insert things you can't control here, which is really most things. But I can hyperfixate on how many calories did I eat today? I needed to do 75 minutes of cardio and I only did 6. I'm going to that's what I'm going to do. And then you can sort of create this little mini dopamine hit of achievement because look, I did it. And then the problem is that when you don't, it's terrible.
It creates the guilt, the shame cycle.
Yes.
And that's why you feel like you're on that hamster wheel and you can't get off of it, because now you're tracking macros, now you're tracking steps. You're, who needs to sleep? Our productivity is up here, and you're quantifying literally your entire existence and looking at data, thinking that you're doing the healthy thing. But the reality is that when everything becomes like a metric that you have to optimize, then your body becomes a project.
Mm-hmm.
And projects can be controlled and they can be manipulated and they can be perfected. And that is what the eating disorder voice loves, because it will never be enough. It will never be enough. It will always be something you have to manipulate. Yeah.
Yep.
I get fired up on this, guys. This is
I love this. Keep going.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Go more on the never be enough, because I remember, and I didn't even think I was being disordered with my eating at the time, but it was, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, I was working with a coach, and I'd gotten pretty lean. And every time I sent her, you had to send check-in pictures. And I'm like, I'm just still so fat. And she's like, what would it look like for you? What's enough? She's like, when will you look in the mirror and see, okay, I've had enough? And I never forgot her asking me that question, because I said, I don't know. I don't think it will ever be enough. I think I could be chiseled with a 27 pack and I would still say, well, my butt needs to be bigger or my arms need to be thick. It's, to your point, it's this just perpetual cycle of you can never get there. So I love the hamster wheel analogy, because it's truly what it is. It's this lie that if I can just do this, then I will be there, but you can never get there.
You can never get there, or you will literally die first. I mean, that's my story, without going into all the details. If you want to hear my story, you can come on over to my show. I talk about things all the time over there. But
yep.
I feel like for me, it was just lose 10 pounds. And that was really simple for me. And I know that's not everybody's thing, but for me, it was just okay, I can, stop the wine, or I can do this. And I was a lot younger, right? I wasn't 40. But for me, it was lose 10 pounds. Our bodies are different. It's harder, right? As we get older.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 10 pounds became 15, and the 15 became 20, and the 20 became 25, and the 25 became 30. And I was so sick and was in my own stuff, thinking I looked better than everyone else. And oh my gosh, they are just, who could go on the beach like that? And who could order carbs for dinner? And it creates this whole vibe of you are superior.
Yep.
And that is also something of again, in that type of kind of, going back to the whole high performing culture, it's going, I can push harder, I can do better, I can be better, and I can sacrifice. And it's the same framework every single time, going to it never being enough. It's we're looking for worth, but the worth that we're looking for without even noticing it, consciously, is conditional worth. Because our value as human beings is not based on performance, right? And if your only good is the number on the scale or your last result, then, you're going to keep failing. And so for me, it was I call it a come to J moment, which is my come to Jesus moment. I was save me from myself. because I can't do this anymore. I'm exhausted. And I think that's where I find and meet most women, because they're trying to continue to perform, right? And it's never going to be good enough. It will always be something. At my thinnest, I hated parts of my body.
Yeah. I think we talked about this before, like when like you look back at pictures and you're like, wow, I was so thin then. And then you're like, I was like, and I remember that day actually thinking how I thought how horrible I looked, and like never being satisfied, it never being enough. One of the things you said, Lindsay, is and how we all really quantify,
Mhm.
what we're doing and want to be the best at it. And it is amazing to me. Jen and I have been talking about this because last year, like, was unintentionally my year of rest and restoration.
Yeah.
But it's so amazing to me how we don't quantify like the best at resting. Like we are never trying to, like, you know what I mean? Like, girl, what?
Yeah.
Let me tell you how much sleep.
How many hours? I was gonna say, how many hours of sleep did you get last night?
Exactly. Like we don't do that. Like that isn't seen as something to celebrate or loud, And especially as women, I don't know one woman that is like, I'm fine. I'm not exhausted at all. It's like we're always pushing ourselves to be some, you know what I mean? I don't know. Do you know? Because I don't. I
No,
don't know. No,
I don't know any. I don't know
I don't
any.
know any. And it's like just not with just eating, but with everything. Like, what have we done? It's never enough.
No.
It's
And
never enough.
I think that's the important thing to like underscore, is that when is enough enough? When are
Yeah.
you tired of your shit? Like seriously, you have to get so tired of being tired that
Yeah.
you're just done. And again, I feel like that's where I meet most people, and typically it's midlife.
Yeah.
I mean, that is what I'm seeing. It's because I've just been doing this for 10 and 20 years and calling it wellness. Oh my gosh, like scales have been removed from my eyes. All I'm trying to do is control and discipline. And then also, it impacts so many things. Marriages, who wants to go out to eat with their husband when they're on a diet? Whose libido is operating the right way that it should be when I'm not eating correctly, right?
Mhm.
How is my cognitive function in my brain showing up for all of these important things I need to do when surviving off of coffee and accolades? Like, it's just, you have to get like,
Coffee and accolades. That's like
when you say rest, it isn't rewarded. I love that, because to me, and what I tell my clients is rest is a requirement. We have to stop looking at it as like it is something to be earned.
Yes.
It's not, you don't need to earn it. It's actually a requirement. If I don't
Mhm.
rest, just like if I don't nourish, I can't perform. I can't show up for the people that I love. I can't be the best version of me. So we have to think about that differently, but culture needs to catch up.
Yeah.
And we're right now in another thin as in season. And so we're really spiking. I feel like in the past couple years, I mean, it's like, yes, it's always been a thing, but there are times throughout culture where certain things are praised. And right now we're really back to, oh, you can survive on less. You can perform
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. I the past few years, I've been really thinking about my body as a her. Jen Hatmaker, I read a book of hers a while ago and she talks about her body and she calls it her. And that framework for me really helps in so many ways because I respect her so much
Mhm.
and I want to take care of her. She's always been there for me to take care of me and I want to be kind to her and stop being mean to her and stop telling her she's awful. Like, girl,
Mhm.
I don't love your hips. Like, I don't say that to her because I would never say that to my friend. You know what I mean? And so I have been trying to reframe how I see my body and to respect it. And I think that that is the other part of it. You get to a point where you forget that your body has done so much for you and really just getting back to rest like I have slowed down like my workouts like crazy. Like I was working out, I was CrossFitting 6 days a week for 5 years. Like it was
Yeah.
insane what I was doing. And the fact that I've been able to like slow things down and still be okay, like and feel better than I've ever felt. Like I feel amazing, but I sleep, you know, and I do something crazy like, you know what? I am really sore. So I'm gonna let you be, girl. You are tired. Like I really, again, I think about my daughters, you know, I have two young women, and there have been some questionable eating choices that have been made for them. And that is in part, I think, to me, like not really understanding what I was presenting to them, not truly understanding like this role I was playing in that. And so truly in the past few years, like, yes, mama is going to drink this goddamn bottle of wine and enjoy her time. And also I'm making pasta and eat up. And, you know, it turns out, and you are okay. You are going to be fine. Like this isn't going to harm you. Enjoying your life is not going to harm you as long as you are responsible and respectful of your body, you know? And so I love that we're talking about this for professional women, but also one of the things, like, who is it affecting? Like, you don't know who's watching you. And if you have children, you know, they're watching you. And if not, and you're high performing like the women that we are talking to, there are women that you are mentoring. You may not even realize that you're mentoring. And that's what you are showing them. And it becomes a little infuriating when you think about it, you know?
Yeah.
That we're kind of all part of the problem. I mean, Lindsay, you and I talk about this at work. We're like, okay, we're going to make a pact. We're all going to take at least one day off this month, because if I know that you're not going to take a day off because I didn't take a day off, that's going to make me
Yeah.
take a day off, right?
Yeah.
Which sounds so silly, but it works, because exactly like you're saying, it doesn't, Kelly, it doesn't have to be to your kids or even people younger than you. It can be to your direct peers, because we're
Yeah.
all, especially the more, and it's not, the more I respect somebody, like the more I want to not let them down, and the more I want to kind of meet them where they're at. And if they're not
Yeah.
going to take days off, well, I don't want to be the weak link here. I don't want to take a day off either. But when you, I don't know, show up with some vulnerability and say, no, I kick ass Monday through Friday, but sometimes like I got to take a Friday off because I'm just tired, and that's
Mhm.
totally okay. I don't have to justify it. That might seem small, but I think, like you and I have talked about, Lindsay, at work, like that, it's quite powerful, because you don't
Yes.
realize how you're all kind of symbiotically linked, and we're all kind of perpetuating that problem of we don't need rest, and maybe not even intending to.
Yeah. It's like unbuttoning your pants. It's like, oh, like it's just like, like I just wear it to like, or I don't know, just
Yes,
it's
no, I
That's it.
not taking
Taking
off your
off
high
your
heels.
bra. Taking off your bra.
taking off your
Yeah.
bra. That's another one. It's like you're just relieved
Oh.
that you don't have to show up like that anymore. And so I definitely am seeing, you know, a shift a little bit, but I do feel like in terms of women giving empowerment to other women, it is changing. Now, to your point, Kelly, I really feel like what we are doing is we are sending down a legacy to the people
Mm.
beneath, and I don't mean like beneath, like underneath us, like our title necessarily beneath, but like our kids, your girls, like you showing up and loving her is setting an example to them and giving them so much grace. And then, you know, Jenna, like what you were saying, you know, when you're allowed to take a day off, oh my gosh, like who would have thought that that could actually make you more productive? Um,
Weird.
and so I don't know. I also wanted to comment a little bit on your her terminology, because what I like to work with my clients on is like my very best self is her. Like
Yeah.
that is Lindsay. Lindsay is my very best self. She operates with a standard of excellence. Now that doesn't mean you're perfect, but it's a standard of excellence. And then my eating disorder brain is Gina. And I encourage all of the women who have a mean girl, whether that's Regina George or somebody else, to name her. Because when the thoughts come in, when the negative, like, oh, you're fine, like, you don't need lunch, just work through your lunch or get on that, Peloton and pedal faster. Like, when those thoughts come in, I just go, Gina, sit down, shut up, not today. Like, Lindsey is driving the bus. And if I want to be the best version of myself, I need to check you at the door. And as you continue to do that, loving saying how you're talking about her, you're respecting her. And guess what? You're building body trust and she's respecting you back.
Yes.
Which is something that when you said earlier, I'm now feeling like I'm in the best health or the best place in my life. And maybe it's because you're doing less, but it also could be the synergy of that respect dynamic of I've now given you permission to be enough just as you are. Like, you don't have to keep pressing ahead and pushing. You're enough just as you are. And when you do that, it's like taking off your bra. It's like, whew, okay. Thank you, Jesus. I've been doing this for 30 years.
God.
No, that makes sense because the first, like, if you are not used to listening to her, then, and you don't have the voices separated, the Lindsey and Gina or Jenna and whoever.
Well, I was thinking like Kelly and Kim. I don't know why I was thinking Kelly and Kim, but like figure out your person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And separate your person.
This bitch.
Yeah. Well, because because the more you can differentiate between those two, because I am just now getting to where I feel like if I wake up and my body feels tired, I can confidently say, I think I shouldn't work out today. And that is very recent. And I don't get it right every time. But going back even a year ago, I wouldn't know how to differentiate. Is that me? Is that my body truly being tired and needing rest? Or am I just being a weak little bitch? Like, frankly, right? And as you almost practice doing it, like I think I love the name definition or division because it helps. And then what Kelly and I have talked about, I'm sure you've talked about this too. Would you say this to somebody else? Would I think that somebody else, like if you called me and said, I'm not sure if I should work out today. I feel really tired and like my head hurts. I'd be like, don't work out. What's wrong with you? Right. So sometimes if you need to, and that's again why I love like the separating the two things in your brain, because when you have, I'm sure it's like this with other things. I can only talk about eating disorder specifically, but one of the craziest parts about it is it feels like there's like a little alien that's invaded your brain and you can't, it's like embedded itself. Lindsey and Gina have coalesced to the point where you can't tell which one's speaking anymore. So when you're so far down the path, and that's hard and scary. And another thing with eating disorders in particular is you can't stop eating, right? So you're supposed to overcome this thing that you have such a struggle with. Like, it's not like alcohol or drugs or gambling or insert, which I'm not saying those are not also difficult to overcome, but at least you can not go near those. So in a lot of ways, overcoming disorder eating is like telling an alcoholic to go into the bar and only have one drink every night. Just go be in the bar. Everyone else is going to be drunk, but you have to have one drink. And so that's just a unique piece of eating disorders that I feel is not talked about enough. Like, yes, we can overcome it, but also acknowledging and seeing like this shit is really hard, especially when you've been doing it for so long and culture and society rewards you, right? No one says, oh, Lindsey, it looks like you gained 10 pounds. You look so great. No one's ever going to say that. They're going to say, oh, it looks like you lost weight, right? So it's so ingrained in everything that we do all day that it just, I don't know. I guess I sidebarred like I never do that.
Wow,
but
you're knowing it, honestly.
Yeah.
That part's not said enough. And so if you are struggling and it's hard and you feel like you are failing, you're not. Take another step, maybe see if you can work with Lindsey, but it's hard, man. It's uniquely hard, and keep showing up and I think doing other work in your life, because like we were saying earlier, whether it's eating disorders or whatever your compensation pattern is, you're coping with you're focusing on that instead of what truly is the underlying thing that's driving you. Is it, to your point, like, I don't have a sense of purpose. I don't feel like I'm enough. Why don't you feel like you're enough, right? There's like a few layers of why. I'm sure you go through that with your clients. What, or are you avoiding something? is your marriage in shambles and you don't know what to do about it? And so instead of doing the hard work and doing the scary thing of going and sitting down and confronting your spouse and being like, we got to go to therapy or something because this isn't right, you're counting macros and running 17 miles a day on the treadmill. Like, what is it that you're running from and you're focusing on this instead? And because even now, sometimes I think it's a constant thing. If I start feeling anxious about food or feeling like I need to work out all the time, I've now gotten to the point where I can say, wait a minute. Okay, what's actually going on here? Because I can do this. I know when I'm hungry and when I'm not. My body can tell me when to work out and when it can't. So what is actually bothering me that this is my still default that I want to go, because it's so much easier to stay in this little bubble of nutrition and exercise and whatever instead of the really hard shit that I'm probably avoiding. And maybe that's not true for everybody, but it's certainly been true for me.
No, you're speaking the language. It is. And I even notice that now, whether it's with my clients or with myself, like when life can get crazy, but it's utilizing tools and having that like a point person, whether that's a therapist, whether that is a coach, whether that is a support group, to go, these are my triggers, and learning to tame them and set healthy boundaries. So something that I think is just anyone can do, right, is putting in those non-negotiables. Whether that is around, your food or your exercise, but not using it against you, using it for you, which is what I call a pro-recovery choice, which is like, okay, I now know when life is stressful, my default is to not eat. I don't do the opposite and eat more. My default is I just want to like like go through it, hustle culture, right? Grind, get through it.
Yep.
But the non-negotiable, the boundary is that, okay, if I want to be a peak elite performer, what do peak elite performers need? Well, rest is a part of the strategy. It's just as much important as pushing through. And nourishment is a non-negotiable. And so if I don't know, I feel like even my husband will be like, I know when you're hangry, and he'll like bring up food or something if I'm working. It's like, I get a different mentality and I'm like functioning on fumes. And at one point in my life, I used to feel like that high, they call it the anorexic high, where you're just like, oh, you have like a dopamine and it just boosts you. But I now know that my triggers are overly, grinding and work. And I can put some boundaries around, okay, nourishment's non-negotiable. You got to get up, you got to go get something to eat. And you got to, do these things for yourself, or rest days, cheat days. And so one thing I would say is like, when you notice that trigger, what you're talking about is a combination of permission and awareness. It's like I now am at this place in life where I have awareness of my mind doing this. I have awareness of the mean girl in my head going, okay, she's telling you like you need to work out, and now she's going to make you feel crappy about it. But the permission is going, oh, well, maybe that's for her today. Like maybe she needs
I like it.
gone past somebody in the gym and they're on the treadmill and like you get pissed off. It's like, well, why am I so mad that they're doing that? We have to flip that and go, gosh, like that must suck. Like, I don't want to do that right now. I don't want to go on that treadmill right now. Like I get to go and have another hour of sleep. And so it's setting those non-negotiables and boundaries for yourself so that you know your pitfalls. And, another one for me is when I get sick, I have my mom bring food to me. Why? Because in the past, I use that as like, oh, I'm not eating as much. Maybe I'll drop some weight. Maybe I'll, like that was like a notorious thing for me. Or that led to no longer eating all my meals because I would notice I didn't need them. And then therefore, when I'm getting healthy again and I'm feeling better, I'm still using that same routine. And so in those moments, you need your tribe, or you need someone to lean on if you don't have that, or create these negotiables for yourself to go, okay, my mom's going to bring me chicken noodle soup. My mom's going to stop by Chick-fil-A and bring me something. Why? Because she knows that about me. She knows that, when I'm in certain points of life or trigger points that are occurring, that I actually need more nourishment, not less. So you're doing that in your brain. You're giving yourself permission, and you're, pausing and going, okay, I'm aware of this and I'm accepting it's not okay.
It reminds me, I don't remember when we talked about it, Kelly, it was a bit ago now, but you were saying that I think it's Priscilla perhaps that knows, like, when you are in like a little depression episode, you can't ask for help then. So you have to set the help up beforehand. So
Yeah.
Lindsay, like your mom knows, oh, Boo Boo's sick. I got to bring her some food because I already know. Because when you're sick, when you're in that place, you're not going to ask for somebody to bring you food. When you're in a depressive episode, you're not going to call your friends and be like, "This is what I need." When I get so overwhelmed, I can't function. I know that I need help, but I don't even know where to begin. I can't articulate what it is that I need. So I love that strategy of setting it up before you're in whatever that little valley is. Get everything situated and get your little tribe around you, whether it's whoever that is, whether it's your friend, like you're saying, a family member, your therapist, so that they can see it for you and they already know, because you know what you need when you're in your right headspace. But when you're in those valleys, you can't articulate that. So that I love that strategy.
So so can we talk a little bit about like what this looks like if you don't get a hold of it? Like, what does this look like professionally and personally? Like, if you don't get a hold of it, like, how does that look?
Yeah, I think what people don't know, and maybe, this conversation will help get,
Mm-hmm.
more education around it. It's actually National Eating Disorder Awareness Month. So this is super.
It's perfect.
Yeah, I love that we're doing this.
Great.
But here's the thing that we don't talk about enough. Eating disorders have the highest mortality rate of any mental illness. So it's not just about looking a certain way. This is life or death. One, I need to lose 10 pounds can become so obsessive to the point where you're, needing a treatment facility feeding tube. Excuse me. It really is a situation that, if it doesn't kill you, it absolutely will steal from your life.
Mm.
Yep.
Mm. I never wow. I never thought about that.
When the devil stops choking you over there, like, I know that's what's happening. He's trying to get us away from eating disorder awareness. But besides extremes, like something that I don't know was taken from me is my digestive health and all the enamel on my teeth. Right, I can never get that back. That will never be fixed. That's something I have to now. Thankfully, those things I can function without them, and my quality of life is not overall diminished. But I know people that have been bulimic that have had to have teeth replaced because the acid just erodes their teeth. That maybe sounds, oh, it's fine. I can get. Do you want to have no teeth? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen any of the hillbilly movies lately, but like, you don't look very good if you don't have any teeth. Not that it's not looking good. So I'm being a little bit facetious, but what are some of the other side effects that are, I guess, health related to your point because there can be points where there's no turning back, right? Like there's nothing I can do to help my little teethies get more enamel on them. That's just how they are. I can never do teeth whitening. I mean, poor me, right? So that's just one that has been personal. So I'm sure you see lots of other things show up in your clients and in statistics. So like, what are some of those things?
Yeah. So I think personally, the biggest thing that suffers is relationships and everyone around you, because you don't I compare the eating disorder to a betrayal partner. I compare it to like an affair that is secretive, that nobody knows anything about. And it's, again, like when you break up with that person, you can go through a whole grieving process, but really, I feel like it's because you're not present. You're obsessing over food, over your body, over the next meal. I had one of my clients tell me, like, my mom passed away and I was out of town at her funeral, and I'm trying to figure out like how to find a gym to work out on the day of her funeral. Like, you get so in your own head that you're always looking for the next thing to control. And so when you talk about health deteriorating, we're talking about bone density loss, right? Which if you get to a certain age, like you're not getting all of that back, right? We're talking heart issues. Like eating disorders are tied to cardiac issues, hormonal disruption, GI. I have GI issues that I am constantly trying to figure out still to this day because of years in the past. Fertility problems. At one point, they said, Lindsay, there's no way you're going to have kids. You have jacked your body up. There's no way you're going to have kids. And cognitive decline. So this isn't just like a feeling bad. I feel like people minimize it. Oh, I'm just, I have some of these behaviors and everybody must be doing some of these things.
Yeah.
There are serious medical consequences. And, so many women who've spent 10, 20, 30 years in this cycle, the biggest thing I feel like that we don't talk about is like, that's time you just can't simply get back.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, not on top of,
Yep.
all the medical conditions and all of that, but and to be what? If it doesn't kill you, it's going to steal your energy. It's going to steal your joy, your relationships, your health, your peace. For what? To be successful? For what? To be disciplined? To set yourself up for this impossible standard? It's
Mhm.
not worth it. I don't feel like it's ever worth it. But we get in this quicksand vortex where it's really hard to get out of once you're at your rock bottom.
Yep.
I often think about Karen Carpenter, the singer. My mom
Mhm.
absolutely loved Karen Carpenter, and I'd like to hear her voice. Perfect pitch, Karen Carpenter. But she died at 32 from heart failure, from
Mhm.
anorexia,
Yeah.
And you think about stuff like that and you're like, "Holy crap, like, what in the world?" Like, I just wish that more women felt like this is something that they could actually have a conversation about.
Yeah.
I wish that thin wasn't a reward,
I
you
do too.
know?
I do too. And I love that you're talking about this because if someone's listening right now and going, well, I'm not thin, but I have some of these behaviors. What I want them to know is 6% of people with eating disorders are actually underweight. That means the lady
Holy
next
Say what? Wait. Say it
stop.
again, please.
Wait a minute. Wait. I'm sitting up and I'm listening again. What did you just say?
6% of people that have eating disorders are actually underweight.
That means that 94% of y'all bitches are regular weight or overweight, and you can still have disordered eating. Okay, most
So yeah,
most
this
people.
whole like I'm not sick enough thing comes into
Ugh.
because you think you're not thin enough, you're not sick
You're,
enough.
you're still not good enough at your eating disorder, man.
So it's this another thing, another round of stereotype, right? And so when you say, what we are seeing is the thin, what they focus on is the anorexics, right? They
Mhm.
focus on, well,
Mhm.
you must have an eating disorder because I need to see it in your body. But do you know what that does to somebody who actually might have like another version of this that's maybe not to that level yet? It creates this, well, in order to be considered to having an eating disorder, at least for me, I have to prove to the world that I do. Oh, how do I do that? Like lose weight, lose weight, lose weight, lose weight, lose weight. And so you could be at the grocery store or your next door neighbor and after dinner, she is purging in the bathroom, but she is at an average weight. And that is a behavior that she has had for 20 years. And so it's so important to go, this whole you're not sick enough is a joke because you don't really know. Like these behaviors over time take a toll, especially when we're talking about hormones. And, majority of my clients are 40 and above, late 30s and above. I have a few right now. I have one that is 60 and one that is 70. And they're like, I just want to live like the rest of my life free. I just want to do
Mhm.
it. And so
Mhm.
you have to recognize that just because you might not have the frame of quote what society has made, eating disorders look like on a poster doesn't mean you don't still struggle just like
Mhm.
she does.
Yeah, that's really great. I was texting a friend before we started asking some questions, and she's not thin at all, and she is healthy, and well, she looks healthy is what I was saying. She looks healthy, and she's been struggling with this for maybe 20 years or so.
Mhm.
But to the naked eye, pun intended, like you would never guess.
Yeah.
You'd never guess.
It, ugh, whenever we talk about this, I kind of go back to the place where I remember being I feel like it grows. It's like a little monster, and it can start small, and then it grows to this thing where you feel like you are captive in your own body, and it is the scariest, most like hopeless feeling. Like I get up every day just to figure out what food that I can put down that's easy to throw up, and that's my day is built around that, and but you can get out of it. It doesn't. You have to ask for help, but you can get out of it. So if you are listening now and you are maybe even a little quote unquote overweight based on, and don't even start me with BMI because that
It's the worst.
Oh
metric
my
ever.
God.
BMI, I'm obese. So anyways, don't use that standard, please. But even if it feels so hopeless right now, if you are alive and breathing, you can get out of it. There is another side. You are not stuck in this. And outside of that little cage that you and your evil twin there have built for yourself, it's so nice here. You have a life, like you said. We've talked about it, but you saying, what do eating disorders take from you? And it's your time. I think back on the years that that's all I thought about. And I missed out on, who knows, career opportunities, traveling, friends, relationships, who knows, watching freaking TV. I don't care. But there's so many things in life to experience, and that's all stolen from you until number one, you believe that you can get out of it, and you can. And then I think it's so nice on the other side, and you can get there. So
Yeah.
I love that. This is a good point to stop, I think, right here, because next time we're going to talk about what kind of shifts we can make and what it looks like on the other side and all the really great things, because we believe in you all. We really do, Odd Scott. You can do this.
You can do
I
this.
like it. Lindsey, we'll put all of Lindsey's info in the show notes so that you can find her podcast and reach out if you are maybe listening to this and thinking, maybe I do need some help. Maybe. And Lindsey, is it fair, like if somebody isn't sure if they have disordered eating, is that something you can kind of talk through with them and help them troubleshoot?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. I have a bunch of resources on the website. You can go to herbestself.co. And there's just so many different things. There's a quiz out there you can take. Everybody loves quizzes, right?
I do love a quiz.
You can also, chat with me, and we can talk and see, if I can't help you, I can probably point you in the right direction. So just know you're not alone.
It's great.
Love it.
Thanks, Lindsey.
Thanks for talking with us, Lindsey.
Yeah. Can't wait to do this again.
Yeah.
Yes,
all right.
Bye
we'll
for
talk
now.
to you guys later.
Later, taters.
Bye.
Done playing it small. Bold moves, real talk, no permission slips. Gotta give 'em my all.